Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Life of Giants, where we're talking about what may not, or who the hell knows, is underneath the pyramids. I am Dino the Genetic Marvel, and with me, of course, down below is Mr. Sniffing Glue 22, Cole Clayton. And in the center of this white Oreo sandwich is Marco Torres of Upside Down Studios.
What up, everybody?
God. I am sick and tired of pyramids. I've watched a million videos today, and they've all driven me crazy. I'll be honest with you.
I'm glad that I've looked into, because the pyramids are pretty much a part of damn near every conspiracy theory there is.
Just
so even when you were sending me the Wi-Fi videos, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this already.
It's a fantastic video. Hi, Patty. Welcome.
But doesn't that kind of tell you that we have no idea what the pyramids are? Like nobody does.
This is the real issue. Is that the head of antiquities for Egypt is Zahi Hawass, okay? And essentially, if he doesn't like you, or you try and say, hey, maybe this is something new, he immediately will try and stab you in the face. And that includes people who have discovered awesome things that give us more knowledge into the pyramids. There was a guy in the 70s who wrote a book, and he's like, I was able to make concrete mixture out of what they had.
Yeah,
so you could have poured the pyramids.
Well, I mean, concrete is predominantly sand. I mean, Jesus Christ, it don't take a rocket scientist. Mix a little limestone in that bitch and add water.
Wasn't it sand back then?
Yeah. There's been sand in that area for a very long time.
Since the flood.
Okay.
And then if you go before the flood, then might have been fucking Atlantis up there in the corner, and some other shits that people haven't discovered.
Mark, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're already starting to glitch. Letting you know.
Yeah, right out of the bat. This is the big thing, is that what is accepted as with regards to what the pyramids are is they were tombs specifically for specific pharaohs, and that's what they were created. Now, the problem we have, and this goes both ways. What's good? Noah Blake, these the boys? I mean, we all have wieners, so yes, we are. But this is the thing, is that number one, there are no sarcophagi in the pyramids. Now, that's not to say that there haven't been people
what about
buried
sarcophagi?
Well,
here's one for you though. Before you even get as far as that much with the sarcophaguses and stuff, or sarcophagi, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Sarcophagi.
So, what this the main pyramids is the pyramid. Is it Khafre or Khufu?
Colin Kaepernick.
Khafre is the one in the middle that they've done the stands. No, it's the Jews. So it's the one that is in question with regards to scan is Khafre's pyramid.
Right. Now that's the main one that's always talked about, with chambers and the this and that. That they don't even know that was supposed to be Khafre's fucking pyramid. When the archaeologists, I think it was a German archaeologist, when they found that shit and was digging it up, they were gonna lose funding because they had no proof that this thing belonged to, what it was or who it belonged to. So then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they get they find this cartouche that said, "Oh no, this is the pyramid. This is the burial place of King Khafre or Pharaoh Khafre, whatever the fuck his name was." And then they got their funding to keep fucking doing the rest. So we have no fucking idea.
But as well as that, so Lethal says, Marco, guess what? I'm gay. You're welcome, Lethal. What are y'all talking about? We're talking about what's underneath the pyramids. So this is the thing: is the hieroglyphics that show that it was Khafre's tomb, okay, are painted on the wall. They are not engraved. So while everything else has been engraved, remember too, is inside the pyramids, there aren't hieroglyphics carved because they're just not. Those are in different places. So it's very weird that, like, on top of everything, remember that back in the day when Egyptology was all the craze, rich people ate mummies. Okay, they ate the mummy body. They would buy it.
Mermaids now.
So, which is surf and turf for the rich. That's fine. But it's that idea where, like, what we've been told as the accepted facts about the pyramid make no sense regardless.
No,
so
not at all.
So on top of that, okay, the what has
Hey, Noah, fuck you, buddy.
Wait, but we don't know who he was calling freaks.
He's calling us freaks. If he's not, I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, that's why you have to ask. Yeah,
I don't. I always jump ahead of the situation. Okay,
you do. That's what got you in the situation.
It's a great skill in life. Y'all should learn it. Get ahead of every situation.
Well, okay. I mean, going back to what you were saying, Dino. I mean, even when they finally, admitted that there was a fucking room inside the fucking.
No, you chill. No, sorry, Michael. My bad. Go ahead.
When they found the building or the room inside the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it. Nobody says what's in there. Yeah, they finally admitted that there's a room there. And the only reason why they admitted it is because Google Earth saw the fucking manhole cover on the top.
Yeah. and like on top of everything, like this is the problem, is that realistically, the Sphinx, the pyramids, they should be a massive archaeological study, digging underneath, finding as much as we can, for the simple fact that the new information we have that there are pyramids on every continent of the earth. And I say that, and I'm specifically saying all 7 continents have had evidence of pyramids.
Okay. Oh, whoa. Hold up. Australia?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second.
Australia isn't called Australia anymore. It's part of Oceania or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, so we're doing 1984 then. We're doing 1984 for real then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
They're just not even denying it anymore then. Okay.
Yeah, it's just out there, dude.
So while they're not, I don't believe there are any specifically on Australia. In other islands that are adjacent to Australia, there are. Right? So and remember, Australia,
there's a pyramid on an island. Aren't pyramids pretty fucking huge?
Yeah. All over Indonesia and like all those places.
Why am I not here? Why am I just not hearing about this?
The Tibetans got them. The fucking the
part of Tibet. But I gotta be honest with you. I kind of thought Tibet was in the Middle East.
No.
I really did. It sounds like a Middle Eastern country.
No, Tibet is like the Himalayas and
the Himalayas is in the Middle East.
No. Again,
I don't know geography at all, man.
Why Donald Trump is dismantling the education system?
I agree.
Fucking example, right here,
Marco. No, you know what? It's
9 minutes. We got 9 minutes into the topic before everything derailed. Just to be clear.
I was the last year. The year I graduated was the year they said, "Okay, we're done with No Child Left Behind." That's it. 2011. That's the year I graduated. That was the final year of No Child Left Behind.
They failed you.
For sure.
The entire education system failed everyone.
I mean, he was homeschooled. Remember, he got kidnapped.
That was the first 8 years.
The formative ones. Those are, they're not even important. That's fine. So this is
some precious years of brain development were full of cigarette smoke and chips.
So, I remember there was a kid who could
Donkey Kong.
Was in
Donkey Kong.
like, because our high school was right next to like a grade school, and there was a little like kid who was probably in grade 5, was like, "Hey, can I bum a smoke?" And one person was like, "All right, sure." And then the kid kept on coming back, and we're like, "No, fucking no! Why are you smoking? You're a child. Get the fuck out of here." Kid kept on trying to hang out. You're like, that kid's getting abducted for sure.
Dude, I did a show a couple years back with Copenhagen down in Warren.
Yeah.
And maybe 2-3 hours, I met him out at his house in Champion to help him get equipment and stuff. And he's like, well, hey, we're going to go next door to my neighbor's house. They're having a cookout. You know, they're having a little party over there. We'll loosen up before the show.
Right.
Fine. So we walk across the yard over there, and there's a bunch of people, bunch of what I would say hillbilly people, but more of the classier, like Mountain Williams,
All
you
right.
know. And then all of a sudden I see this 4-wheeler come by, and there had to be maybe 8 years old at the oldest, driving this 4-wheeler in cut off jean shorts, no shirt, barefooted, and a fucking beer in his hand. Fucking beer in his hand. Riding this bitch. And the only thing I can think of is America.
I'm pretty sure that's one of Jack's cousins on his mom's side.
I'm pretty sure that kid was born with a suspended license.
Yeah, he's related to Jack on his mom's side.
And a skull and a fucking and then he was already admitted to NASCAR.
Yeah, he's already got season pass. The education system failed when they stopped teaching the kids and only worried about teaching to the
That's
the 100%.
All they gave a fuck about. I swear to God.
Yeah.
All they gave about. I was real good at taking tests. The fucking multiple choice tests. I was real good at those.
You
give me 4 answers. I'm like, which one kind of sounds right? You know,
my problem with those was if you got like one letter too much, you're like, well, that can't be right. That doesn't make sense. I'm gonna have to mix it up a little bit. I must have been wrong. And 100% that screwed me.
You ever get all 4 answers are the right answer, it feels like, but none of the answers are all the above.
That's how the driving tests are out here. All right. I know this is kind of off the subject, but this kind of came up. Like, I thought this was bullshit, like when I heard about this right before the show. So, but it just came across my news feed. How in the fuck does a $70 million jet just fall off a fucking aircraft carrier?
When that happened?
It just happened like today, I believe.
I'm about sick of airplanes hitting the ground. They're called airplanes.
The fucking
air.
It was parked. It was fucking parked.
I mean,
how the fuck does it just roll into the ocean?
You know what it is, right? You know what it is? They're reporting the news for the first time ever because they didn't have to do that. And now that they're like, all right, well, fuck Trump. Fuck Trump. We're going to report the news all the time and make Trump look bad. That's what it is.
Hey, all I know is, you know what? We like that's some fucking Three Stooges shit. Right? Like, he's like, hey, you locked it. Okay, I gotta talk. It just got keep it passed off. Yeah.
Dude, they were moving it by hand. And
dude,
somebody fucked up.
I could see myself looking at y'all and be like, oh, like
100%.
Y'all be like, are you serious? I'm like,
hey, let's be honest.
The FA-18E was actively under tow in the hangar bay. So it was in a hangar bay on this bitch. When the move crew lost control of the aircraft and the tow tractor were lost overboard.
Was anybody hurt?
Fuckers.
Was anybody hurt?
It don't say anybody. For $70 million, somebody better got hurt.
Yeah, they should have dived in after it. Go get it.
Oh, so it fell in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. It's like
okay.
it's shooting missiles at the Titanic right now. Oh my God!
Someone forgot to set 100%.
And it was on the U.S. Harry Truman. Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, operating in the Red Sea. It
Bro,
was,
we got like the pirates and like the Greeks myths, all this shit like outplayed because they used to sink ships, and that was like stories of legends, bro. We dropped airplanes down there.
yeah, and you also got to think back then, them ships, the ships on TV are not the ships they were really strolling in. They were riding around in pretty much half of straws with 50 people on each side.
Just rowing,
really?
baby.
Yeah.
Rowing.
Really?
Hey, this is the problem, okay? And this all ties in is the fact that we are overflowing with information, and all it's done is muddy the waters, right? Like we're not, and the worst part is that half of the people who are like, okay, so one of the videos that you sent me, Marco, with regards to the pyramids, was a guy who was extremely skeptical right out of the gate. And let's be honest, most people watch the first 5 minutes, be like, oh, okay, it's bullshit, and go to something else. By the end of it, he's like, well, it could be, but also remember the entire idea of the pyramids doesn't make sense. The whole purpose of them and everything. You're going, so it's not necessarily that what's under them doesn't make sense. It's that we're being held back from being given actual information. They look, how do you, if you had a tow truck holding an airplane, towing it somewhere, why would it fall off? So
into the ocean, no less.
Yeah.
What was towing it? Like just
Well,
like a conveyor?
No, they have like little tow, like
a truck?
Kind of, yeah. Oh, more like
what happened to the truck? Did it fall too?
Yeah, gone.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I mean, your necklace. Okay. Interesting background, Marco. Your necklace ties you into the image. Well done. I mean, he's very fancy.
Well, I was hoping that Dino might have recognized what the background is. If I get up out of the chair,
no, he's never been to heaven, Marco.
It's Tesla's lab.
Yeah, it's Tesla's lab, and Tesla is sitting behind me reading a book.
Yeah.
Elon Musk's lab? You mean?
No. And
fucking asshole.
Going back to the whole pyramid thing.
Edison lab? You mean?
Shut up, idiot! Yeah. I'm gonna wice you in 2 seconds with your dumb, uneducated, dumb shit.
Yeah, just learn something.
The fact I know who Edison is means in reference to Tesla means I am educated, you bitch. I made a good, solid, dumb, smart person joke.
Edison was an inventor. He was a businessman and a thief.
He was a thief. Yes, I know. Just like his fucking snake oil salesman's son.
Why are you bringing it up then, you fucking retard?
Because I was making a joke. That if it's Tesla's lab, it's really Edison's lab.
You're like 3 seconds from getting wasted, you dirty bitch. Okay.
Okay.
The point. You're just mad at me for that.
Shut the fuck up!
You shut up.
Damn it!
So, the whole point of this, before any of this digital image and all this other shit, because if you look at the real picture, it just looks like the predator looking at something. Not a predator like Cole, the predator like the alien.
Don't call me a predator.
Shut up!
No, you call me a predator.
There's been, like Alexander the Great spent the night in one of the pyramids right in that area there. And throughout the centuries and shit, different people say they felt an energy coming up off there.
Definitely.
Now, like I said, looking into what we just know about the pyramids without the predator vision, it already looked like, there was people, everything from steam and hydraulic type apparatus or down to like this direct energy type deal that Tesla actually discovered. I can't say he invented it because it was already there. And he proved the fact that, with pretty much the dynamics and what he learned from the pyramids, that's pretty much an energy, I wouldn't say weapon, but like it's a free energy source.
And that's so as you said, Sasha, Tesla had a huge experience specifically because the pyramids, there is limestone in that area, but the limestone that was used to make the pyramids was taken from somewhere else, and that somewhere else had a high concentration of quartz. And quartz, so every time you light like an electronic, like a lighter that doesn't have a flint, it uses quartz to generate
Yeah,
that spark.
they use them in watches. It's piezoelectricity.
Huge. So the idea is that what the whole principle of the actual pyramids itself and every little bit that we discover calls into question everything. And Patty, I know it doesn't make it any less frustrating though, because god damn it.
Like there was actually, I believe they said 3 different types of stones, and then the tip of it was actually gold, and it got stolen.
Yeah, stolen.
Right.
It's in George Soros's house. He sits on it like a toilet. That's what he does.
We look at it every day at the back of a dollar. Now, an odd thing is there's a lot of people reported about a 4th pyramid. And it's not supposed to be made out of the same material. It's supposed to be made out of a black unknown material with a flat top, which actually kind of sounds like a little bit like the ones in Mesoamerica and like the Aztec and the Mayan type pyramids, because those were all flat top.
Yes.
But I think more of, because it only pops up every now and again. There was a pyramid that was discovered, I believe, in Antarctica, which is a black pyramid. And we don't really know if it has a tip on it or not because of the snow and the angles and the very few pictures there are of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you think maybe that has some kind of connection? And then, like you said, also with pyramids being damn near everywhere in the world, that would mean that a lot of places that we supposedly were not in connection with, we were all connected. You know, it was like a telephone line. That was the old school telephone. You know, if they got telephones in fucking Australia and in Egypt and in America and in the fucking Antarctica, then we all connected somehow.
There has to be. So this is the look, even right now, remember, there's an entire series that I actually want to see. It's called Terror on I think it's on Prime right now. And it's about the journeys into the Arctic, right? And where you're like, yeah, you're not allowed to do that anymore. So if you personally funded, say, I'm getting a boat, it's going to be an icebreaker, and I'm going up to the Arctic, they would say, nope, you'll be killed. They will sink your ship. So it's the same thing with the Antarctic, which you are, number one, it's divided amongst countries.
7 countries.
Something like that.
But oddly enough, a little side note on there are 2 pieces of Antarctica that are privately owned, and one is called New Swabenland. It's owned by someone in Germany. It was originally the Reichs and Rothschild Island.
Isn't that?
Wonder who owns that?
I mean, what a coincidence, right?
Jeffrey Epstein.
You know what? I hate that you're actually funny, you prick. So, but ultimately, this is the thing, is like, you can't just go to Antarctica. You're not allowed. And that's the thing, is, even if you look back,
fucking crazy.
But this is the thing, is like, I laugh at how especially in your country specifically, where people are like, the border should be open. You're like, there is no country on the planet that is okay with their border being open. Just to be very clear, not one anywhere. And that is
one country that they're actually shooting at people right there to get them the fuck back. Like the people Poland. Are like, Poland don't give a fuck. Yeah. You'll get straight. They got people who's sitting there waiting for you to fucking come through that fence.
They originally were using water cannons and stuff, and then they got cleared for live ammunition. And they're like, "Oh, we'll just shoot if you're trying to get through. We'll shoot you," and that's it. So yeah, okay. Here, the top was made of gold. The outside of pyramids was covered in a white stone, which was stole over centuries to be repurposed for Roman buildings. From what I researched, also too, there was allegedly a massive earthquake that had huge ramifications on that area. The problem is that none of it makes any sense, right?
So here's something. Did you hear this? This is new. Now the government, that guy that you were talking about, has decided to keep the economy and the ecosystem and the animals and everything, you know, to take care of that. they're going to start funneling people. You can't just go to the pyramids.
Nope.
You can't just go to the Sphinx anymore. Now you got to be funneled in through a certain area. And I'm sure at that point, you're only going to be allowed to see certain things. So I had a buddy of mine who he lives in Hawaii. He went, I think it was his honeymoon. Him and his old lady went to see the pyramids, and he said, we were talking about it around the I think it was the Sphinx. Yeah, there is scaffolding.
Yes,
like they already dug down. They know what's under the Sphinx. They know about whatever the fuck So they know. But what they do is every fucking night, after everybody leaves, they go and they do whatever they do, and then they recover the scaffolding with sand for the tourists to go by, so they don't know.
Yeah, there's even the outside around. Remember the Sphinx when the first early pictures, when we had pictures, it was only the Sphinx head sticking out of sand. Everything else has been dug out, and the fact is, where it's been dug out is literally showing water erosion, which you're like, that doesn't make any sense. None of it is very clear.
Back to the flood, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like you guys are overthinking it because, like, you know how freaky the Greeks were, and the Romans a little bit too. Like, what if the whole thing is just like it's just like the orgy epicenter, and then like the Sphinx is like a shrine to the furries.
It would be beds or some shit. Like the Greeks got bathhouses. They're still there. They found natural springs and they washed their asses. And, there's still probably DNA in that water from fucking ancient Greeks. The Romans that took the fucking ideas from the Greeks. They had bathhouses. They had people, and they had fucking, they had places to fuck. There was nothing in these pyramids.
We could clone Alexander the Great and vote him back in as president of America. You know, you think Trump's bad? Wait till Alexander the Great is president. No, we're just going to take over. What the fuck? Like, what do you mean the Geneva Convention? What the fuck?
They're Geneva suggestions. Doesn't Cole have a White Claw to sip on to keep him quiet? He did. It had a nipple on it too. I don't know where it went. What are your thoughts on what was found recently? Okay, so this is something we were talking about earlier. The actual scan that has been in the news is actually from 2022. Okay, what recently came out was the Italians that did this. Remember, now this is the really tricky part. Is Zahi Hawass?
Italians can never keep quiet. I swear to God.
I swear to God, just stop cutting people off. Why are you so?
No.
What?
It's my best move.
Someone touched your butthole today, didn't they? And it wasn't you, was it? That's what happened.
Nope.
Okay. So the whole
point.
Actually,
I had a really good shit today. That's what you get for the comment.
Can I go now?
Maybe. We'll find out.
To fucking God. Anyways, the point is this: is that the reason why it's making news headlines right now is specifically because there was a 4-hour presentation. It has been translated in English. I believe it is available on YouTube. But what it does is it explains how they rendered their scans. But what they explained was they are not finished. So the video that Marco shared with me and I watched too was very skeptical in regards to what is underneath the pyramids, because could it be that? Sure. Do we know? No. The only way we'll know 100% is if it's excavated. The problem is that if it is, that means it's 2 kilometers downwards, and it's also thousands of years old. The ramifications of an excavation project that big to actually figure out what the fuck it is basically, I would suggest, impossible. Right?
See, because like the sand people are doing some things out there in the litter box, man. They got that new what's it called, the strip. It's like cities, like it's like so wide, so much wide.
The wall, the hold on, let me find it. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And they're just making it to extent. Fuck, Abu Dhabi is all. I think it was all metal. You're not allowed to drive any cars there. I mean, a lot of people think of the litter box and they think everything we bombed or whatever. There are some fucking high. Those people are some of the richest people in the world.
Yes. That's called the line, is what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's so this is the thing too, is that everyone talks about how Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos have all this money. They have amassed wealth by their holdings of a company, right? As that company increases in value, their hold on those shares increases in value, creating wealth. Now, the problem is that in the Middle East, people who have oil money, they're not in the billions, they're in the trillions of dollars, and they have to disclose it to absolutely fucking no one.
Right.
So
they got straight fuck you money like all day.
Hand over fist. Right.
I've seen people like some of these videos where people will pull up in a Lamborghini in the sand to go buy a fucking camel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a completely insane amount of money where
they got
rational thought has just left the building, right? Like there's no I don't know if you guys have ever seen this joke where a young man went to England for school, and he messaged his father and said, "Dad, I'm embarrassed to drive around the Lamborghini. Everyone else uses a train." And their father's response was, "I have wired you $20 million. Buy a train. Do not show weakness in front of the English." Like, so you're like, you got to understand that these people do not have rational thought because of the amount of wealth generationally they have and will have, right? That's why they're trying to build things that are wild. That's why Dubai is such an insane amount of money. Where look, if you look at pictures of Dubai in the 80s, you're like,
buy gold in a vending machine in Dubai.
Yes, you can. And it's not even small.
It's like a Coca-Cola, and it's pure gold. It's stamped. It's real.
Yeah.
You just go up and I feel like buying a brick of gold today.
And that's the thing, is like, look, the amount of a stranglehold that Zahi Hawass has on what is Egyptology.
Yeah, see, I think he's the problem with it. I don't think the excavation and the money to pull it off is the problem. It's him. I'm a firm believer it's him, because, Lord forbid that this might break the fucking Bible or the Quran or whatever the fuck. Or Lord forbid it might prove that there's aliens. Or Lord forbid it disproves aliens altogether. What if this is like fucking real proof that humans were here a long time ago, and we were smart enough to build the fucking pyramids, and we were smart enough to do all this shit? No aliens, no jinn, no fucking magic levitating from the Levites. No,
but it may have been levitation technology that we just haven't had access to. Like, there's no question that there was significant amount of technology being used that has been forcibly removed from history, and we are told that's not. Like, look, the Baghdad battery. What reason did they need for? Thanks a lot, Sasha. What reason did they have for electricity? Can't answer that. So why would they have a battery? Can't answer that.
Yeah, they needed electricity for the same reason we need electricity. Because if you've seen where they first found the Baghdad battery, on the wall was Egyptian. Now they're saying it's all different shit, but it looks to me like there's one Egyptian holding one end of a light bulb, and there's another Egyptian holding the other end. And the middle part that lights up, they have a snake representing the fucking the light. And that's what throws it off. Everybody's like, "Oh no, that's not a light bulb. There's a snake in the middle." Motherfucker.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what this is. Not gonna lie, my penis is this. The ancient from thousands of years ago were more advanced, vast, and it was something that today our cultures. Oh, I no question. Well, that's the thing, is we always look down on the past and be like, "Oh, well, they were peasants and they were stupid. They didn't understand math." And you're like, if you just look at the mathematics involved in making a pyramid
in the Sumerian text, some of them, everything they found. I mean, because there's shit tons of Sumerian fucking tablets that nobody fucking talks about or whatever. Right. But a lot of them were accounting, and they're like they came from Jews almost. You know, it was you know, this is how much corn was. This is how much barley was. This is who owed this. I mean, there was receipts, there was accounting. So there was an understanding of mathematics, and it was a higher caliber of mathematics. And also, you know, they've always been studying the stars and astronomy. And again, you know, if you look at any fucking historical book or holy book, you know, the litter box wasn't always a litter box. There were fucking forests. There were fucking, you know, there was grass. There was fucking trees and shit. You know, I mean, you know, me and Dino were talking about this earlier. What if in the Great Flood, once everything shifted and everything moved, you know, water, when it fucking goes to its drain, it brings all the silt and everything. So what if the sands of the fucking litter box is just the silt from the rest of the fucking earth?
Well,
it would covered up fucking cities and shit.
Well, that's the crazy thing. I love this. Marco is becoming my favorite. Thank you. And whatever. And then, oh my God, sorry, I did not mean to use the P word. I meant pyramids. You definitely meant penis, and you were talking about it on my show. How dare you, Sasha? No, that's fine. But this is the thing, right? So we were talking about this earlier today, when Cole was working because he's so important, and
I think he was at court. You didn't notice he was all cleaned up?
I'm just assuming he's angry at something and he's taking it out on us, and that's fine. But now he's all butthurt. Why are you butthurt, sir?
He's wasting us.
And he's white. How dare
No,
you?
I just don't have anything to contribute to this conversation, and so like if I'm gonna be a part of it, I don't understand why I'm here.
You're more than welcome to contribute to the conversation.
Well, I don't have anything to say about it, so.
All right, that's fine.
What do you know about pyramids, Cole?
I don't. I have no idea about pyramids.
All right, so the first thing, it does not have 4 sides. It has 8 sides. That's a big misconception on everybody. Everybody thinks the pyramids are just, you know, no. If you look at it at the right angle, they're kind of inverted. It almost looks like if you look at it in the right direction from the sky, it looks like a kaleidoscope, almost like the way to.
Yeah.
And it matches Orion's belt. And once upon a time, before the Mandela effect, all 3 of them were in line with a couple ones on the side, and now they put the smaller one in the middle somehow. I don't know. That's a whole new story, you know, a whole different show with CERN and all that shit.
Very possible. This is the thing, is that we're not being told the truth, right? And that's where it's super confusing, right? We don't know. Marco's right on point that it comes to understanding there's more pyramids. Oh, there's well, the fact that there are pyramids on every continent in the planet that are wildly similar and crossing over in design is just crazy, right?
There's one in, what is it that it wasn't the Ukraine, but it was up over there in one of them Slavia places. They found a pyramid, and they're actually paying people to go in, like, you know, the town is like, you go in, you know, we'll pay you a few dollars, you could dig up whatever. They wanted to excavate it, and they're pretty much getting it done damn near for free to just let people go in there and do it.
So it's a mountain that is oddly pyramid shaped. And what happened was that they in turn were like, that people started excavating, and they're like, yeah, we're just going to dig in. And then some government department was like, no, you're not allowed to dig there anymore. And it got shut down quite aggressively. And they're like, oh, well, we're just going to explore the mountain. Nope, not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go on there.
Just like G.E. Kincaid down the Grand Canyon.
100%.
You know, when they found that whole fucking Egyptian, and it was a mixture. It wasn't even just Egyptian. It was like Egyptian, Tibetan, and all kind of different cultures, all inscribed inside this damn cave. Yeah. He was supposed to get funding. He called fucking the Smithsonian. Worst thing he could have ever did. Boom. Shut down. No funding. No nothing. They pretty much almost made him broke. They fucking put the iron gates all over the fucking holes where it's at. And if you go down that way, because there's rafting, but if you like stop on the way and go look, Blackhawks are hit like fucking Area 51.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go into certain parts of the Grand Canyon, and even so, I remember we were in we went to Vegas for my dirty 30, and one of my friends was like, I'm going to the Grand Canyon, which is like awesome. And she was like, she paid extra because the helicopter will take you there and then actually land inside the Grand Canyon. And they were like, oh, can we check out other parts? And they're like, no, you're not allowed. Also, do not take anything with you. It's apparently bad luck. And you're going, that's just weird in and of itself. But there have been huge stories about that where, look, from giants to Egyptian artifacts being found in there, the whole thing has been blocked off for, and they're like, oh, it's for everyone's protection. We've protected the walls from it. Doesn't make any sense. Right?
See, I've never heard of the giants down there. I've heard of reptilians. But that's more California way.
Well, there are entire cities carved into the walls that they were like, oh, that's not, but then there are cave dwellings that were that they were, I think it was giants that they found, and they, like the ones in Afghanistan where they're like, yeah, you couldn't go in there, you would die.
See, I thought those were ones, but like those were more far north. Because I think it was like maybe Oklahoma, maybe, or some shit like that. There was one of the Indian tribes. There's a story of how they killed the last of the giants. They kind of, got them into this cave and they boarded it up and fucking caught it on fire. Supposedly, the outline of one of the giants is still scorched into the rock.
Yeah, there are entire. Well, this is the weird thing, is there are a lot of mesas where essentially it's like a rock and then it's flat on top.
Yeah.
And you were like, it looks like a petrified rock, a petrified tree. That's really what it looks like. And they're like, no, that's not what it is. And you're like, okay. But then, like, why would it form that way? They're like, nature does weird shit.
Well, like, there's like, I always thought that was a big conspiracy thing. Because you see a bunch of, there's stone carvings that look like it was some kind of a humanoid thing or some kind of animal. There's like you said, the trees and stuff that are turned to stone. And apparently a few years back, I think the Russians actually discovered it or whatever. There's some technology, like a laser beam type deal, that you could turn a living thing or whatever the fuck into stone.
Yes. Well, okay. So the wild thing is, even just yesterday with Victoria and her aunt, we watched a thing on the Terracotta Warriors about that whole time and the guy who made it. And you're like, so in his 13th year of rule, he decided that he was going to make this
fake army. Like this.
Well, he was gonna make his tomb to be this massive thing. And you're going, this is the weird part, is that every soldier that's in this tomb, the Terracotta Warriors, every one of them has a different facial expression, different facial features. And you're going, I'm sorry, but to me, that's you got
those were alive at one time. Those, I mean, there's even if you go back even in the Greek mythologies, what was it? Medusa turned you to stone. So I mean, they've been talking about it since way back when. Maybe it's real, maybe.
Well, we believe in so much more stuff that we have even less evidence. So, and that's so. If we today put up the post everywhere to transfer energy, and it only makes sense if those in the past were smart, as they would do the same difference. For some reason, we don't understand the pyramids. Oh, that's 100% true. The only difference is they use energy from under the earth. That's the thing, is the planet itself is ridiculously flowing with energy, right? We've been told that you don't need that. But also, too, in so many places, like if you have a problem with a garden growing, there's a very good chance that underneath there is some sort of cement or something that is blocking the soil. And that is an active issue. And you're going, that's the problem, is that we have massive amounts of property development. And then they're like, yeah, you could just grow grass. And you're like, okay, but what if I wanted to grow vegetables? They're like, no, you can't do that. Why not? Doesn't make any sense. Also, I think Cole fell asleep. I agree with you. There's a very good chance.
That's another weird thing too, man. Like dealing with the energy from the ground and stuff, or just electricity. With everything going electric, this is for you eco Nazis. With everything going electric, your cars, more and more automation in houses, AIs, robots doing this and that. everything electrical gives off an electromagnetic field.
Correct.
The more juice, the bigger the field.
Yes.
Now you're adding more of this shit everywhere. Now I deal into all kind of different conspiracies, including the paranormal. And one of the biggest issues with people who see ghosts or feel like they've been haunted or even hallucinate seeing shit where they think they saw it's because an electromagnetic field fucks with our brains. You know, that not saying there ain't ghosts. I'm not saying there is ghosts. But if they like an example is when I seen a ghost hunting show and it was in this jail block. And this one corner of the jail block was supposed to be mad haunted, mad this and that. Well, they found out, and even with this place shut down, there was a huge fucking power converter right above one of the cells. And that was mainly the cell that all the shit popped off and people were going nuts and this and that. So, I mean, you add all this fucking, and now you start drawing from the earth, like you said, we got all this energy coming from the earth, and you're adding that onto it. Shit's gonna get weird, man. Shit's gonna get real weird.
I don't disagree with you. This is the thing: is we are at a point, I believe, technologically, where we are messing with things that are beyond our understanding, and our assumptions, like the economy and like the weather, like so many things, is that we can control it. No, the planet is uncontrollable. The planet will do what the planet will do. There's nothing we can do to stop it from doing what it's going to do. And this is the same thing: is that there's a very good chance that the pyramids and other structures throughout history were created to tap into that energy and provide something. Who knows what it was, but it's actively being held back from us. Reduce surrounds everything and some things more than others, which is why some stones can harness energy. Yeah, but that's the problem, is then people are like, I use crystals to heal myself. And you're like, that's crazy. That is not how any of this works, right? Like the amount of stuff that is required for that. But like at the same time, if you touch certain things, you get a vibe off them. Why? I don't know. I wish I did, but I'll tell you is that I feel like if you figure that out, nobody's going to want you on the same plane as them. That's for sure.
Trying to go back to the whole energy thing of the pyramid. Well, first of all, we were talking. This was all came out in 2022, and then they're making it sound like they just came out with all this shit when it happened back then.
Yeah.
You notice we haven't heard shit in the past 2 years. I mean, and for these people who want to, as soon as this shit broke, I got people, friends, that, the halls of Amente and the halls of this and the books, and we've all been talking about. No, the fuck it's not. First of all, you know what they use to fucking find whatever the fuck is under there? Echolocation. It's the same thing a bat uses, same thing a fucking dolphin uses. And you know what? Dolphins still fucking get caught up in goddamn nets, and bats still fucking hit trees. So, I mean,
they also hit each other regularly.
Right. So, I mean, there hasn't been any seismic shit going on. No. There's no fucking radio waves. This is all like sound. It's just, because the radio wave is not the same kind of wave. But, this is just, bouncing off. And again, if you really look at it, it looks like the predator looking at like an octopus.
Correct. And this is why the explanation that I saw was that, well, maybe it's the idea that it took them over 2 years to figure out what it was that they were looking at. And this is their hypothesis, and they're not finished yet. So whether it is or is not, we still have no idea. And I don't think they do either, but I definitely think that it's something to keep an eye on.
I feel like this is a big factor, and I think you need to look this up. Are these same people who took this picture the same people who were like scanning Loch Ness?
No, these guys are actually real people. One of the guy was studying in Scotland.
Society, man. I mean, I watch that fucking show every couple of years, and they do the same thing. It's the same fucking boats that go across, and we got new sonar, and you got nothing.
I mean,
And then
responsible.
there's a lot fucking better shit and cooler shit that is found underground that still needs to be excavated. There's supposed to be a city of the jinn that God fucking covered with sand that is supposed to be this beautiful paradise for demons. Somewhere it's in the sand somewhere. I forget what the fucking name of that one is. All these temples and shit with hieroglyphics and all this other shit, all written on. They did find one site, like, because usually I guess most of the sites have writings and they're adorned with shit, this and that. It was just plain. It was a few pillars left and nothing written on it, nothing on there or anything.
Yeah. So, okay, the three people responsible for this are Professor Corrado Malanga, Dr. Filippo Biondi, and Dr. Armando May. And they're the ones that led everything. But they're now...
They all sound like they're illegals.
No, they're Italian. They're Italian. They're not. I mean, this is the other thing is that they would have never been given permission to do this scan unless they did it from orbit, which they did using a satellite. Which in and of itself, you're like, where did
people were pissed? Them sand people were pissed.
Of course they are, and they've immediately gone on after them to try and discredit them all completely, and that's why it's taking so long with everything. What I don't understand is how did they get access to a satellite? That's my that doesn't seem like something that's cheap.
Well, I mean, we've seen this happen already in Aliens versus Predator. They did the same fucking thing. You ain't know, only they did it in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. They did the same thing. They ran a satellite over and it was like, oh, there's something under there. We're not quite sure. They showed the fucking little heat vision, the different little colors, and boom, all of a sudden the Predator found it before them and they slid down the hole. Boom, there was a pyramid.
I liked that movie, though. It was fun.
I liked it, too.
I mean, especially when he grabbed the tail of the thing and slammed it into the rock. You're like, goddamn. Yeah, that's fair. I
don't like how the whole alien, like the canon, the story went like that. I think they, instead of them being, an actual biological thing that fucking android made it, and then that kind of blew the whole story.
Yeah, well, it's people trying to put in their own information, and this is the problem is that you have people who are like, I want to leave my mark, and you're like, hey, or you could just finish the job. Finish the job that somebody else started and just continue because everyone likes what's happening. So in the same sense, listen, we all want to know what's underneath the pyramids and what the reason for the pyramids were. But the bullshit answer that we're constantly given is, oh, well, it was for their tomb. And you're like, okay, so are they in there? No. You're like, oh, well, where are they? You're like, oh, they were somewhere else. You're like, okay, so they built this giant pyramid as a tomb. And then we're like, I won't bother. I'll go somewhere else. It's very good.
We get the same answer as we do for Easter Island. That one still fucks me up. It's an island. But they're saying that the heads of the Moai, are attached to a body that's so many feet underground. Nobody has excavated one of these motherfuckers.
No, they've done a couple.
I've never seen anybody pull a whole fucking body up out of there. I've seen pictures that supposedly people were working on that shit, but no news about a Moai being pulled out. And then it's a fucking island. If that thing is that goddamn big, don't you think its feet would be in the water?
Well, no, islands don't work that way. There's no water underneath. But the other thing is that they found shallow water leading to the island, like shallow, like tolls, where you're like, was this attached to other land possibly? And also now you're not even allowed to go to Easter Island without like proper permits and everything like that, because a buddy of mine went, and I was like, that's like the point of no return. Like if something happens, you're fucked, right? Do you look up why a small part of the population? So I did, and it was too in depth.
It's Anunnaki blood.
Yeah. So, and the problem is it's actually quite aggressive with regards to, so if like an RH positive or an RH negative person with a non-RH negative person tries to have a kid, the RH negative blood will actively try and kill the baby, which I'm like, that is terrifying. So I have only touched on a little bit, but It's
I
we'll
have
have to
a
touch
friend
on
of
it.
mine who's actually Rh negative. Her and her sister.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
she's my landscaper.
2025. Women can do that. That's fine. Yeah, no, it's totally reasonable. It's probably the power of her Rh negative blood. Apparently, they have stronger bones and better musculature. That's great for landscaping. Let's be honest. That's.
Hey, and she's an Italian landscaper.
I mean, there you go. Well, they were talking about how it's mainly focused in the Basque region of Spain, which you're like, those people are weirdos, and they have their own dialect. It's not just Spanish, like it's Basque language, which is they're like, oh, it's also really, really, really weird. It's 1972. Okay, well, no, it's 1925 or 2025, whatever. I've heard they're very different but smart. I mean, listen, there's a very good chance that one of us is Rh negative. You never know.
I don't think I am.
I mean,
there's no royalty in my blood.
you never know. Well, that's the crazy part is that everyone's coming out with new information and stuff, and the problem is we're not giving details as to how it affects us and everything, and people are just going, it's because you have to take these pills, and you're like, I don't want to take those pills. I want to just try to figure it myself.
Did you by chance make the correlation with the AI picture of what's supposedly under the pyramid and Wakanda?
No.
If you look at the first Black Panther when they're fighting under by the subway or whatever that fucking train is, and there's all that vibranium Killmonger and fucking you're fighting down. Oh, that looks exactly like that fucking AI rendering, man. The pill, the bottom house clear. I mean, the only thing it's missing is a fucking train and some blue lights.
Interesting. Look it up. I heard that American presidents are Rh negative except one. Well, there is a shared lineage of all presidents, but the problem is that like everyone is related to like the crossover as you go back is very broad, right? Because remember, it's like, well, I had two parents, that's four grandparents, and so on and so on and so on. By 32 generations, we're all related to each other. Like it's very, and if you're not, that means you're inbred, and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing, right? So it's
there was a lot of inbreeding over there in the fucking Europe.
Yes, actively. Well, if you've ever the Habsburg family where they have the crazy fucking chin and face, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, this is the weird part is that people who do that will end up like they can produce something great for the first time, but then the second generation, you're like, oh, they are mentally deficient and they can't function and they'll be deformed.
They got a touch of the downs.
Oh, more than a touch, I'll tell you that. It's more like a drop kick. But that's how that works. You're like, it's very much complex with regards to genealogy. But the fact is that certain genes and certain traits are carried forward among certain people. But like the Rh negative stuff is that sometimes it creates a hostile environment that can't reproduce, right? In Newcastle, PA, also, I don't know, maybe there's a lot of stuff like that, and it's the whole idea where look, remember, there's all this talk about like a great example. They're like, oh well, the water levels are rising. Okay, the stone that's at Plymouth Rock, right where the whatchamacallit landed, is right on the shore still. So
that's gonna be the Planet of the Apes moment when you make sure that rock is still there. Yeah. You destroyed it. You destroyed the whole damn thing.
I don't know. It ultimately, the weird part is that there's definitely something. I think it's going to, the only time we're actually going to get detailed information as to what's going on is when that guy passes away and someone else takes the reins who's not determined to just keep his legacy alive and hold things back. But I think I'm going to keep an eye on those professors. If they're on the same plane as me, I'm not going. That's for sure.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no.
Well, what's really odd to me is okay, say that the pyramids were a power generator. just like Tesla. This is one thing I never understood neither about the whole Tesla coil things or whatever. So after he built these towers,
yes,
you could put a light bulb, just a
Mhm.
light bulb, on the
Yep.
ground, and it would light up. You
Correct.
could pick it up, and it would light up.
Correct.
Wow. Like how I can understand you're pumping it out, but what's making what catch it? Like, because that goes back into the, I guess, history of the light bulbs that were in hieroglyphics. How, like, okay, all these pyramids are pumping out the juice, and you know, it's,
Bro, you halfway through that sentence and your whole thing got fried. So about, I think it was in 2004, maybe, there was a team of Harvard students that were able to do that for a light bulb 7 feet away, or 7 feet or 7 meters. Anyways, it was a very small distance by comparison to what Tesla was doing. And people were like, this is breaking type studies, right? But Tesla was, my study is up there, and half a kilometer away, I am turning the lights on without wires.
right. He said, I mean, he had a ranch, and they magically dismantled everything and sold the parts for scrap. They didn't even like put it in a museum or nothing,
Yes.
or maybe even be like, all right, we can put it back up, but we'll make money off it. They got rid of this shit. But he had like 2 or 3 of these towers on his ranch, and he could power the whole fucking town with just them towers. And I don't understand how, what's like, is it automatically gonna put energy into the computer? Like, and
I'll tell you this much, is that it's baffling to everyone. And remember too, is that when like his goal was to build those towers so much so that everyone got free energy. When JP Morgan found out that you wouldn't be able to charge, well, so just hold on. When he found out that you wouldn't be able to charge people for that energy, it would be just free. JP Morgan railroaded his research and essentially blacklisted him amongst investors so that he died poor in a room with his studies and in love with a pigeon. The guy lost his mind because essentially everything fell apart. Why? Greed. So it's that's the problem, is that his information, number one, was also immediately confiscated by the government. As soon as he died,
know the rest of that story. So there was 60 of Tesla's notebooks that an FBI agent was supposed to go collect, but only 40 of them, I think it was 40 or 48 of those notebooks made it back.
Yeah.
Supposedly there was nothing in the other notebooks, or they got damaged. You know, there's a lot of here or there's what happened. Some people say there was just 48. But then, do you know who the fucking FBI agent was? Donald Trump's uncle.
I know.
And from that point on, the Trump fucking money started flowing. And supposedly in those books, there's the time travel shit that Trump came out and said, yeah, you know, the Trump, this administration, yep, we can time travel, we can fucking manipulate fucking. So, I mean, that shit is like, we all thought it was crazy talk when we heard it, but now, fuck, that might be fucking real.
Look, it's the same thing where the last ruler of the earth was Baron Trump, and the guy who actually populated Mars was Elon Musk. Or his name was the Elon or something like that. So we are living in some sort of madhouse.
And it's weird shit going on.
Yes. I mean, listen, what's underneath the pyramids is the least of our worries, because things are just getting started to get crazy. I think we'll just stop it there before Cole wants to murder either of us. If he's not enjoying himself, and I'm sorry, Cole. I don't mean to. I'm sorry that we did that to you, but
yeah, I'll find some ignorant shit for you to talk about on Wednesday. So you just run your mouth about, you know, women or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, everyone, this has been Life of Giants talking about pyramids, and it was madness. But we will be back on Wednesday with Upside Down Studios on What the Fuck Wednesday, and you're more than welcome to join us there. So please like and subscribe, and we will be back then. Have a great night.
Mental health and hammered and cheese.
Those are for late. We're gonna just slowly roll everything out. It's all good. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.